Nemesis, the goddess of retribution who no one could escape. Have you ever wondered what happens when someone becomes too powerful, too arrogant, or too proud, even among the gods? In Greek mythology, there was one goddess who made sure no one, mortal or divine, could escape the weight of their actions. She was not a goddess of mercy nor of love, but of balance and inevitable justice. Her name struck fear into the hearts of kings and heroes alike. That name was Nemesis. She was the goddess you could never bribe, never deceive, and never run from. Because if Nemesis turned her gaze upon you, your fate was already sealed. The silent judge of the gods, unlike Zeus, who ruled with thunder, or Athena, who guided with wisdom, Nemesis did not seek glory. She did not sit upon a shining throne or command vast armies. Instead, she was the silent judge, the one who watched, measured, and struck when the scales tipped too far. Her name means to give what is due. She was not cruel, she was fair. Yet fairness in the hands of Nemesis could be terrifying, for it meant no one could escape the consequences of their own arrogance. The role of Nemesis in Greek mythology. Nemesis was the goddess of retribution, balance, and justice. She punished hubris, the dangerous pride that led mortals to believe they could defy the gods. If a warrior boasted too greatly of his victories, Nemesis brought him low. If a king grew arrogant in his wealth and power, Nemesis stripped him of it. Even if a god attempted to bend fate for their own gain, Nemesis was there to restore balance. In her hands, justice was not about kindness. It was about order, balance, and the inescapable truth that every action has its price. The scales and the sword Nemesis was often depicted carrying two powerful symbols, the scales and the sword. The scales measured the deeds of mortals and gods, weighing arrogance against humility, sin against virtue. The sword delivered judgment, swift and sharp, ensuring balance was restored. She was sometimes shown with a wheel, symbolizing the turning of fortune. No matter how high one rose, Nemesis ensured that the wheel would one day turn. Tales of Nemesis, fear, and justice. One of the most famous stories involving Nemesis is linked to the birth of Helen of Troy, whose beauty sparked the Trojan War. According to some myths, Helen was the child of Nemesis and Zeus. The tale suggests that even beauty, a blessing from the gods, could become a curse when unbalanced. Another legend tells of arrogant kings and warriors who thought themselves untouchable. Nemesis punished them, stripping away their pride and reminding the world that no one, no matter how mighty, was above the law of balance. She was not worshipped for blessings like Demeter or Aphrodite. People prayed to her for fairness, but also feared her deeply. For to attract Nemesis meant your downfall was near. Nemesis and the concept of hubris. To truly understand Nemesis, one must understand hubris, the dangerous pride that angered the gods. In Greek belief, hubris was more than arrogance. It was a crime against the natural order. When mortals claimed godlike power or mocked the gods, Nemesis ensured their punishment. Icarus flew too close to the sun with wings of wax, and Nemesis allowed gravity to teach him humility. Narcissus, obsessed with his own beauty, fell victim to a cruel fate, his downfall echoing Nemesis's sense of balance. Through these stories, Nemesis was not just feared, she was respected, for she reminded humanity of its place in the grand design. The legacy of Nemesis. Even today, Nemesis remains a powerful symbol. She embodies the idea that no one can escape their deeds. and that pride always carries a price. In art, literature, and even modern culture, she is seen as the force that restores balance when the scales of justice tip too far. She represents the truth that justice may not always come swiftly, but it always comes. Conclusion. The inescapable goddess Nemesis was not the loudest of the Greek gods, nor the most celebrated. Yet she was the one no one could ignore. She walked silently, carrying her scales, measuring every action. And when the time was right, her sword would fall and balance would be restored. So the next time you'll hear of a hero who flew too high, a king who thought himself a god, or a mortal who believed they could cheat fate, remember Nemesis. She was the shadow behind them, the force that waited patiently to remind them justice always comes and no one escapes Nemesis.